Good evening, I'm Kevin, she's Laura, he's Brian, and welcome to the Celtic v Real Betis live pre-match preview show on this match day 6 of the Europa League, where this is the definition of a dead rubber. And I'm going to come to Laura first here. Ange was just taking the mickey out of us that he was going to take this seriously, be making 11 changes for the game tonight. I'll read the team out before we actually discuss it. The team is Sorry, Laura.
He's seen an opportunity for us today, I think, to just see a few unfamiliar faces and stretch the legs of a few folks. So it's going to be an interesting one. It's actually turned out for me from a game I wasn't too fussed about into one that I'm really looking forward to watching. So.
I'll bring in Scott Howe here before I read the team. Sorry, it was Brian that caused us to be late. He had a Christmas night out yesterday and it must have went on a bit too long. So the Celtic team...
Part of me still
there. So the Celtic team tonight, for those who haven't heard it, is Bain, Welsh, Beaton, Scales, Montgomery, Shaw, Urhoghide, Abada, Soro, McCarthy and Aiete. Basically, that is cleaning out the deck chairs on the Titanic, and I can't work out what formation we're playing. I can't work out who's playing where. Brian, I'm going to ask you a question. Where do you think Urhoghide's playing?
I think we're right back. Would be my
he's right back?
Aye. But I think it's going to be the same formation, 4-3-3. I think right to left, Urhoghide, Beaton, Welsh, Scales, McCarthy, Soro, Shaw in the middle, and Monte, Aiete and Abada up front. It's the front three. That's how it looks to me. I could be wrong. Because when initially I saw the lineup, it looked like a back three, but with Urhoghide, Welsh and Scales, five across the middle. But actually, I think it will probably just keep Urhoghide as a right back, which will be an interesting thing to see. I slated the big man during pre-season. But obviously, we'll see if he's improved since then. Let's hope so. But I tell you what, if I told you at this stage of the season we were going to watch a game with starting 11 with Scott Bain near Beaton at centre half, also as captain, and Aiete up front in his own, we would have been less than impressed. But we've got to accept that this is very much a distant second string, isn't it?
If somebody would have told you that at the start of the season, Brian, you would have expected us to be throwing fences outside the front in the car park again if that was going to be our starting lineup in December. Facebook user, I really hope Betis are resting their first 11. Yes, Betis have also made 11 changes from their defeat against Valencia on Sunday. Laura, do you agree with Brian's prediction there of how we're going to line up?
The back four is a bit of a guessing game, to be honest, I think, because I think Welsh or Urhoghide or Beaton, for that matter, could probably do something at right back. Scales could play left back or centre back. So as far as that's concerned, I think that's a bit of a guessing game, but the rest of the team pretty much seems to be in line with what you would expect. I'm just, like I was saying earlier, I don't know how much of it you were able to hear, but it's just one of those situations where there's just going to be plenty to keep an eye on tonight. Plenty of players some of whom who haven't even seen the light of day in a Celtic shirt, never mind have something to prove. So it'll be an interesting one. The one I'm looking forward to most of all is Aiete, because I think there's not very often you can pinpoint a point in a player's Celtic career where you can say this is his last chance. Like, I think if he doesn't prove tonight that he's a goal scorer of some description, then you can finally write him off. I think there's loads of people who have done that already, but, he's got a chance in a European match to start at Celtic Park. If he can't do it tonight, he's never going to do it. So I'll be interested to see what happens there.
It will be interesting. KS Caretakers comes in on YouTube. Bolly in Spain with his bird. Well, Mr. Bolingoli wasn't included in the European squad, so he can be wherever he wants to be tonight. I'm sure he's not in the stadium selling the Paradise Windfall anyway. Danielle Farrelly, who had a liver transplant last year and she's feeling under the weather, so I hope she gets well soon. She's a regular contributor to ACSOM.
She actually said a nice comment today. She said that I looked as good as she felt, which is which I think is an
Wow.
indication of how poor I look today. But get rid of it, much appreciated.
I would guess that after your night out, that must have been the battering your liver took on the night out, probably.
I think it was. I mean, my ego took a battering in the comment section.
Laura, it was a day out. I mean, he missed the Bulletin yesterday because he was out.
Dearie me.
I mean, they just can't go for a night out, eh?
I hope that's Barocca in that glass, Brian. I hope that's all
It's a lot of Barocca today.
And me and Colin weren't invited. You know what I mean, eh? So Diane Farrelly says, evening, excited to get a look at Shaw tonight and wee Montgomery in his more natural position. That is exciting. I want to see Montgomery further up the park, Brian, eh?
Aye, definitely. I sort of mentioned that today actually on the Bulletin. I think I prefer him there. I think he gives you a little bit more. I don't know if Van sees him as a left back for the future. He's actually one of the players that I think tonight I'm kind of excited to see, because I think he's got a real opportunity to take Mikey Johnson's place as Jota's backup. Because I don't think Michael Johnson's done that much to impress, and I think if Monty can have a good game tonight, actually he might be in for a start until Jota comes back. So guys like him have got a lot to prove. I think Scales as well, he'll be absolutely buzzing to try and take his chance. And of course McCarthy, it'd be good to get him legs in. But also another big game for Abada tonight, because he needs to start. We've given the benefits doubt. He's started off really well, then he's kind of dipped off. Now he has to start that upward trajectory again. So big game for a lot of the players tonight, actually. And I agree with Laura, I'm quite excited.
Laura, it was one of the things I had noted down yesterday to speak to Colin about, but we never got round to it. I had marked Adam Montgomery as a potential backup to Jota. And for me, I'm really excited to see him on this left-hand side tonight in his more natural position, because Jota's got all the tricks, the flicks and all the skills. But I feel sometimes, earlier on in the season, Montgomery looks very, very direct, and he looks a different option on that left-hand side. It's a big night for him tonight, eh?
Yeah, just before you said the word yourself, the word I was thinking of was direct. I think, like you say, Jota brings so much to the team, but Adam Montgomery can maybe more directly take their fullbacks on and things like that. He suffered a little bit, I think, from that kind of square peg in a round hole syndrome that we seem to do a lot of players, and been filling in as a left back, where I think it's been obvious to anybody that's watched him that his defensive qualities are certainly nowhere near his attacking qualities. So it'll be interesting to see what he does now that we know that he's not got that sort of responsibility at all tonight, and he's maybe got a bit more freedom to go forward, which I'm sure Angel have told him to use to his full advantage. So I'm excited to see what he can bring, because for all we say that we've not got young players coming through and we need to do more in the academy level, he's one that many Celtic fans out there wouldn't have heard before last season, and yet seems to kind of almost have become a pretty decent fixture in the Celtic first team squad this season without too much fanfare. So I'm excited to see what happens tonight, and it's his chance to stake a claim for the rest of the run of games in December as well.
It does that, Brian. Having a look at the team, there's only 2 academy players there, and Postecoglou yesterday spoke very highly of the academy. Now, to make 11 changes and only 2 academy players there, that could be seen as a damning indictment to the academy.
I think it's maybe more to do with the players that were registered for Europe, because obviously I had to register them quite early in the season. So he's probably not to look at the boys in the academy. And then I don't know if there's issues if some of them are in the B squad, if they can get called in. I'm not really sure what the rules are. So it's maybe more that than an indictment. If it was this time next year and there was only 2 players in, then that would be more of an indictment, I think. But I think it may be more circumstance than an issue with the players themselves. But I was really glad to hear him talking about the academy players. It was just another one of those things where he praised Ange, but he was brilliant again in the presser the other day, and shout out to Big Tony for asking an absolutely excellent opener, following in the footsteps of Laura, who apparently interviewed Ange one time.
I don't know if you heard that.
But no, I think it's good he's got an eye in the future, but again, I think it's maybe more circumstance than an issue with the players themselves.
I'm having a look at the bench as well, Brian. So you've got your best friend, Dane Murray, on the bench. Mikey Johnson's on the bench. I'll read the subs. Hart, Juranovic, Taylor, McGregor, Turnbull, Henderson, Murray, Kyogo and Mikey Johnson. Ewan Henderson makes an appearance on the bench, Laura, for the first time in a number of months.
Yeah, he's a strange one because he's never one that I've seen play and thought that he didn't have a good performance almost. He's always shown himself up well in any performance that he's made, and it's just one of these ones where as a fan you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes or what's being exhibited in training or whatever, but like to the layman's eye at least you're sort of thinking, I wonder why he's not got more chances than he has. So it'd be interesting to see if he makes an appearance tonight. Obviously, it will depend on the way the game goes. If we're really struggling, I could see more of the experienced players coming off the bench. But if not, it's a chance for him to get a run out as much as anybody that started the game.
Brian, as I read the subs out there, Laura does say there is a safety net there. I'm going to bring up this comment by Brian Walsh and understand Brian's sentiments here. Shocking lineup. Appreciate there was always going to be changes, but this could be a 4 or 5-0 if we aren't careful. We've got a safety net on the bench there. We're allowed 5 subs. Do you think Ange Postecoglou is maybe looking to use those subs as the game wears on in the second half?
I would imagine. I would imagine he's probably trying not to use them. He'll probably just try and get as much rest to the players he's sort of dropped out the night as possible. I mean, look, there's always a bright side. This is the worst starting 11 of the season, but it's the best bench of the season, right? So,
you're right. There is the best bench. Dominic Toy, and this is a big thing. A lot of players playing for their futures tonight. So I'm having a look at this team, and I'm maybe saying Ake and Soro are in the last chance saloon tonight. This could be their last appearances in Celtic jerseys before the January transfer window. Laura, do you agree with that?
Yeah, it's just flashed into my mind as Dominic put that comment up. I'm watching Squid Game on Netflix now, and this is Squid Game for a lot of these players. They'll be fighting for their own shirts as much as playing as a team tonight, and it will be each man for themselves. I personally think, Abad is one who's received an awful lot of criticism recently. I'm have been a big fan of his, but think he has been playing poorly recently. I don't think he's quite in the group of players that you're talking about that are fighting for their futures. Far from it, but he still has something to prove. The players, as I said, that are fighting for their futures really are Ayeti, probably even Urhoghide and Shaw at this point, just because they've never broken in at all. Soro, I don't even think he's playing for his future at this point. He's maybe playing to be in the shop window for January. McCarthy's got another chance to start, and I think probably, as much as I hate to say it about McCarthy, given the amount we spent on his contract, I think he'll be quite happy to play the part in the team that he's playing this season, just coming in and out when required. But apart from that, everybody else has definitely got a future to play for.
Definitely. Strangelove, the doctor's got a different view on this. He disagrees with the terrible lineup comment. I think I hear that he's disagreeing with one of us. I'm not 100% sure. Well, I disagree with that. The players picked won't have a better chance to show they can make the grade at Celtic in a no-risk game. Brian, is there any pressure on the lads tonight whatsoever?
I think there's always pressure when you play for Celtic. There always should be. The players should be taking the responsibility, and I don't think anyone will go out and think this is a jolly, because if they go out and they do start getting battered, they're going to feel it for the crowd, and no one player wants to have that. I think Strangelove, the doctor's right, to be fair. Like, he might disagree with us in terms of sentiment, but I've got to agree with him. I think that it's a sort of a no-lose for the players in a lot of ways, because if they go out and get a result tonight, they could, as we've spoken about there, that could be a few players sort of sealing their future and actually getting another chance. It keeps some of the younger guys like Montgomery, Scales, stating their claim for a starting spot. So they have got loads to play for. And if they get beat tonight, nobody's really expecting them to win anyway, if we're honest. So it depends how you look at it. It's all about perspectives. So, I mean, the comment about the lineup being the worst of the season, it comfortably is. You're not going to tell me any of the players are keeping any of the other players at the team. But if they can get a result, especially for the guys we mentioned, Montgomery, Scales, Urhoghide, Shaw, maybe we find a wee diamond in the rough tonight.
It could be, Laura. I've often said when I've looked at the bench this season that people right away presume that we lack depth. I sometimes see it as we just lack answers. We've got people on the bench that we don't know what they can do, and there's a lot of unknowns sitting on the bench. So there's quite a few of these players tonight I've got a chance to actually put a question into the manager's head and also make us ask questions as well to go, can they do something go forward, and why are they not being involved more going forward?
Yeah, I mean, Urhoghide was one that springs to mind as somebody who really had quite a few appearances during pre-season and didn't show himself well up in any of those. But in contrast to that, his other pal from Sheffield Wednesday, Liam Shaw, was never particularly bad, but just never seems to have got his chance. So Shaw is one that I'm looking out for, kind of going, go on yourself, give us a good performance tonight, and all of a sudden we've got another option in midfield there that we've been looking for. Because right now, like you say, in some ways we say we're short of numbers, but we're not really short of numbers. We're short of players we can absolutely rely on. If he can make himself one of those players where he comes in and you don't worry about him being in the team, then that's a bonus for us. It's almost like a brand new signing. What you don't want is to look at him tonight and think, I'm not sure, because if you do that, then the next time he's on the team sheet, you're automatically on the edge of your seat in a bad way.
Definitely. I'm going to use the comments tonight pre-match. Durban Clushy comes in and tells us Leicester in the Conference League. They were 3-2 down against Napoli the last I looked. And Strangelove the Doctor wants me to go through the lineup again. So the lineup is Bain, Welsh, Beaton, Scales, Montgomery, Shaw, Urhoghide, Abada, Sorrow, McCarthy, Ayeti. I've read that in the order UEFA put it on their website. So that's why I didn't have a clue as I came on the broadcast what formation and who was playing there. But thankfully Brian and Laura gave me a dig out there. But Brian, you look at the experience in that team. This is a massive night for Beaton and McCarthy.
Absolutely. I think maybe McCarthy more than Beaton. But Beaton or Bitten or whatever we're going to call him, Nero, the nickname you hate. Big Nero is he's been having a good season. Didn't start off this season well, obviously he's sending off, but since he's moved into midfield, I think he's actually performed really well. Beaton at centre half's a very different prospect. Giving him the captaincy is an interesting one, because he's never a player I would have imagined would be kind of leading the players sort of vocally or leading the charge in the huddle. So that'd be interesting to see. It's massive night for McCarthy. He's one that people have really jumped on. People really don't seem to rate him or give them quite a hard time with things, and I don't think it's warranted. I don't think he set the header alight, but I don't think he's had a particularly bad game. So this is a chance for him, and again, especially a night like this, imagine Beaton captains this basically second string Celtics team to a win over Real Betis at Parkhead. That's great for the confidence moving forward, especially for the guys like him and McCarthy. And I don't think they'll lack effort or endeavour tonight. And you know what, as well, given the fact that Betis have made 11 changes, maybe at half time we'll have a very different sort of attitude.
Laura, Betis are sitting third in La Liga at the moment. They've got 30 points after 19 games. Somebody like Beaton, who's got vast international experience and experience at Celtic, and James McCarthy, who's got vast experience in the English Premier League. There'll be a lot of guys in that team tonight looking at them and going, yous are going to need to step up, yous are going to need to give us a dig out if we're going to need a dig out. Because even though Betis have made 11 changes, it's guaranteed that man by man, they're going to be a better team than us. Just with the standard of the league that they're in. So you're looking for McCarthy and Beaton to step up. But I see a bit of leadership in Stephen Welsh as well. I think Welsh can actually stand up as well. And I'm looking to see these young lads actually develop a bit of an attitude to see what they can do against a better side tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen Welsh, I've been a big fan of, vocal fan of for ever since he came into the squad. I think he I think he's getting to the stage in his career where the excuse that he's still young and he's still this and he's still that, he's got a lot more Celtic experiences under his belt than a lot of people. So I think he's getting to a point in his career where if he's really going to stake a claim for a starting spot, which I don't think he's too far away from, to be fair, a night like tonight is where he needs to step up and, like you say, lead the team. Looking at that team, as I said about appearances, he's probably one of the top in terms of number of appearances for Celtic in that whole squad, never mind just the starting 11. So if you can't look to him for a bit of guidance and a bit of leadership, despite his age, then I don't know when you're going to be able to do it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him sort of lead the line from the back and, show exactly what kind of potential that he's got, because I think we've got another diamond on our hands in terms of, I talked about Montgomery before, but Welsh, as we all know, came in at the deep end in the middle of a really tricky season last season and kind of took it in his stride. And yeah, I think he's absolutely fantastic. I'm never concerned when I see his name on the team sheet. He's the last one in that team sheet that I was concerned about tonight, that's for sure.
Definitely. I wasn't surprised to see him back as well. Michael McDonald, usual contributor. Scales is the next captain of Celtic. Brian, there's been a lot of love for Liam Scales since he actually signed from Shamrock Rovers in the summer. This is going to be his first start this season after his first goal at the weekend against Dundee United. Is this his moment to shine? Is this his moment for us to actually go, by the way, everybody in the comments, you were right?
I hope so. That's my honest answer. I really hope so. The brief I've seen of him, he does look a player. He's got a lot of, for a guy's size, he moves quite gracefully. He likes to go forward with purpose. Scored a brilliant goal. And by all accounts, he's defensively sound, which I dare say will be tested tonight. So it would be good to see. Do you know what I think is really interesting about Liam Scales? So he's a guy that came in, nobody really heard about, came from the Irish League, which had so much support for people saying, this guy's a player, give him a chance. Whereas the likes of Stephen Welsh, who's homegrown and has played, and we've seen a lot of him, gets criticised routinely. Same with guys like Jamie Forrest, maybe not as much this season, but in previous seasons gets criticised really heavily. But we gave a bad the benefit of the doubt. I always think it's strange that certain players get, not necessarily a free pass, but a lot more good faith. And I don't know if that's a homegrown thing but it's just the optics of that I find really strange, because for me, Scales, judging what people are saying, he's a good player. He's not the right to justify it for me so far, because other than very brief appearances, he's got so much goodwill behind him that a lot of other players simply don't have. And I don't know, I just find it strange. But I hope he's a great game, and I hope he is next fixture captain of Celtic. If he performs that well, that'll be great. And look, ultimately, it could be 11 Martians playing for Celtic tonight. As long as we win or play well and try hard, you don't care,
That's right, Laura, what Brian says. If Scales is coming with what could you say, not a massive reputation. He's not coming with a James McCarthy reputation, but he's coming with a reputation with people who watched him at Shamrock Rovers that we have a player on our hands.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but I mean, so did Lee Connor, came from Man United with that reputation, and it never worked out for him. It's a situation where, yes, you have to take on board what outer sources are saying and people who know the player better than you are saying, but ultimately it's what they do in a Celtic shirt that matters for us. There's so many players who come from other clubs with glowing reputations, and for one reason or another it doesn't work out. I have to say with Scales, a little bit like Liam Shaw, he's one of the ones who, his performances have perhaps merited a little bit more of an opportunity for them than he appears to have been given. Again, we'll never really know understand the reasons for that, but I remember seeing him when he first took to the field. I think it was the League Cup against Wraith Rovers, and we were winning at the time and we were pretty comfortable, but he really looks very accomplished on the ball, and the finish against Dundee United at the weekend showed that he's got a bit of technique and a bit of prowess about him, that he's perhaps the kind of fullback that we need to really carry out this inverted fullbacks that we keep going on about to the fullest of its potential. And, there's a bit of me that actually was second guessing myself, going, There's no way Ange has come from Japanese football and all the way from Australia to sign a left back from Shamrock Rovers for Celtic, but there's a bit of me that thinks whether that's true or not, he might just fit what Ange is looking for, and if he puts in a good performance tonight, left back isn't one of our strongest positions. It's a shirt that's up for grabs, and I think he can really, if he can do that tonight, then he could set himself up for a good run in the team.
Definitely. It's the same with Liam Shaw, Brian. Liam Shaw came in with a decent reputation. Obviously, he was signed in pre-contract, obviously, before Ange was in the building. And what I remember about him in pre-season, he's a big lad, and he seems to put himself about the pitch a bit. And Ange was very complimentary about him a couple of weeks ago when he mentioned the two lads from Sheffield Wednesday. I remember watching Urhoghide. The last time I saw Urhoghide was against West Ham, and the first thing that went through my mind was he was the only one that had the physicality to actually match the West Ham players. He looked like he could have been in that West Ham side, maybe no ability-wise, but physicality-wise. This is a big, big night for the both of them.
Absolutely, and you're right about both Shaw and Urhoghide. What we have in our starting our strongest 11 is good technical players, but we don't have a lot of physicality. We're not a big side. But apart from Carter Vickers and probably Welsh and stuff, we're not a particularly strong side either. So it's good to have that. It's funny the always thing with players and things training, and you wonder if maybe it's not just ability, maybe it's an attitude thing. Maybe it's Ange wants players to play a certain way and wants them. Because I always say with Turnbull, the only thing I think Turnbull does wrong is he doesn't do enough off the ball for me. Because I think Ange demands a lot. But he's so good on the ball, it balances it out. So I think, given how demanding Ange is of his players, although they might be good players and they might do well in other teams, they might not do well in his team. So it'll be interesting to see how well they can adapt and how pacey they can be. But as we keep saying, this is a massive opportunity tonight, because especially in that centre mid, because we are light, very light, physically and in numbers. And if Shaw can put himself about tonight and dominate that midfield and really take it to the scruff of the neck against a good team in front of a packed Parkhead, maybe he's going to save us a few quid.
We're 1 minute for kick-off, so we'll wrap up here. Prediction from Laura first.
I'm going to go as positive as I can here, and I'm going to hope that with the lineup we've got, we don't lose. I'm going to say one each.
Brian? I'll say 2-1 Celtic. Might as well. Let's do it. We're here. 2-1 Celtic. Here we go.
I'm on board with that, Brian. I'm the host. I didn't do the predictions. I'm just going to do the wrapping up. So, lads and lasses, I'll see you back here at half-time, where hopefully we'll have a decent first half to discuss. Then, if you're not here at half-time, we'll see you back at full-time when we'll discuss the game. But we'll also discuss who we can get in the conference draw as well, because that'll all be settled by the time we come back. Thanks very much for tuning in, and I'll see you at half-time. Thank you.